All right, are we ready to go?
Hold on just one moment. Okay, we're ready.
All right. Everyone can still hear me, right?
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead and call the June 24 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. First item of business is to approve the March meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, let's vote.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, that passed.
All right, next item is the staff report. Jack, what you got?
You all are aware as much as anyone else of the construction that's going on in various locations in town. You see it on 169 predominantly as you go. My main point for this staff report time is to ask some recommendations as to what to do, how you want to proceed. We have several streets that would probably benefit from having name changes. One of them is 4th Street Terrace, which is right next to just 4th Street. The plat actually has 4th Street Terrace on it. And our signs have to say to match that. The thought would be we could remove the street and just call it 4th Terrace. It wouldn't impact anyone because everybody's using the 4th Street Terrace, or it doesn't really significantly impact anyone. We did have a citizen come in who was very frustrated at the post office because of the new sign, and I had to explain to her, got a new box, one of those big community boxes there, new postman putting in, that's how it's happening, because they don't even look at the street signs when they're in those boxes. But that's one street. The other one would be commercial. If you look at it at the GIS and trail it from where it meets over here on Church Street, and then track it all the way down, it goes from Church Street to from Commercial Street to Commercial Avenue, back to Commercial Street, and then it goes to Commercial Avenue. Currently, every sign except one is signed it as Commercial Avenue, except for the one at Church Street. It still says Commercial Street. It would probably be best to identify that as one street. The last one is with development now down at the south end of Commercial, where it turns and heads due west, to avoid 911 issues. Usually you have your north-south street and your east-west streets, and they have different names so that there's no confusion. And if they stay the same name, the numbering can get a little problematic. We anticipate in the near future, the next 2 years probably, that Commercial will be extended further west, over towards the industrial park. When that happens, we're going to have a significant problem with those addresses having to come in that way. So the thought internally from staff is we could adjust the name of Commercial as it turns west, and make it 148th Street, because that's the line it would fit on. The question really is, should we change it at 169 or should we change it at Shamrock where it turns? If we changed it at Shamrock, it would impact one business, which is the gas station there. They are addressed.
McDonald's 169
They're
address.
addressed off of 169. Yep. So it would impact one business. But it then would clarify from Shamrock Way over, so all the western traffic, east-west traffic would be 148th. And it would then clarify the north-south versus east-west traffic issues. As we're growing in that area, it just makes sense to make a change and where that line breaks.
Because then when they take that road through to First Park, it would clean that up too, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the reason I started thinking of it. It's like,
Okay.
we don't want, if we extend Commercial and start getting addresses off of it, we're gonna have north-south commercial and east-west commercial, and it's,
And deliveries have a hard enough time with North
Yes.
Bridge and South Bridge.
well, and, well, and it doesn't help that we have east and west Main and north
Yeah.
Main.
Oh, yeah, Meadow
in
too.
town
You
as
got,
well. So, I mean, and that's a north-south and an east-west street.
yeah.
So if there are any thoughts on that or any of these items, I'd appreciate, the heads up on what you might think about it. Otherwise, I would like to submit that process for changing the names of those streets as indicated, Fourth Street Terrace to Fourth Terrace, Commercial Avenue and Street to all Commercial Avenue, and then commercial at Shamrock to become 148th Street. I would rather be ahead of it than have to do it later. Be behind it.
Yeah,
no,
I'm
no.
definitely
No, this is
support that
merely-
moving forward.
Yeah, this is more of a, how would you prefer to move forward? Any of them make no
I
sense
think
at all
the
and don't want to do
commercial
it?
avenue all the way should be commercial avenue. I mean, that
Yeah,
just kind
yeah.
of makes sense. But then when you get down to Shamrock, I agree, yeah, where it turns west, we should make that something. Or even at 169, but are you guys gonna pull addresses or does the post office do that?
We set all the addresses. We would, if we change a street name, like when we changed Spellman and all that, we
Mhm.
sent out letters to all the property owners, letting them know that in 30 days after that letter goes out, that your street name will officially change and your address will change. And then that is copied to Clay County GIS, the assessor's office.
So that Google and
911.
All the places pick that
Yeah,
up.
yeah, Brandy,
Evergy,
yeah,
Fire.
all of the utility companies that we know of that are accessing here, they all get a copy of it.
As far as the residents, it's not a lot, or the residents or business that would be impacted. It's not a lot, right? Is it like a handful, kind of?
Well, on commercial, it's literally one.
Yeah.
Everybody else is addressed off of 169, except for the gas station down there.
And then Fourth
Okay.
Street Terrace, whatever.
I
I
don't
mean,
see that.
as long as we're not changing the name dramatically, then I don't see a
Yeah.
problem.
It's just, I mean, when I first took over the position here and I started looking at that and I was like, it's actually on the plat that way. It's Fourth Street Terrace.
Yeah.
So.
Because
it
normally
wasn't-
it's terraces are between the streets, but it's not
Yeah.
called Fourth Street Terrace. It's normally just called Fourth Terrace.
You could just
Right.
Name that whole thing the Fifth Street Circle. Or you.
Well, there is a likelihood that that may be extending further to the east with
Oh, with
the
that
second phase
subdivision.
Yeah.
of Diamond.
Jack, is there any potential between Shamrock and 169 for any other buildings, businesses, residential?
No.
Nothing. All of them are going to be, well, the north half of that is fully developed with McDonald's and the gas station. The south half has Fairview going through it. And all of those will have to address off of Fairview. There's no access off.
One side of my brain likes cutting it off at Shamrock. The other side is,
69.
Yeah.
why are we going to put that one business through an address change when we can just take it to 169? And moving forward, everything east of that will be 148.
Just means more signage on the MoDOT stuff.
It's kind of like when
I-
we have
Have two
144th
signs
and Martin
instead of one.
Road, there's two signs. even if
I'd
it's the same
rather
street.
see it start at Shamrock. And I'm going from when you're out knocking doors and different things and you're looking at maps and stuff. When you turn that corner, you think it's a different street.
And
And
this
that's
is,
not any different than going up Old Jefferson Highway to 180th and then Eagle Parkway.
Right.
So I really think it should start at Shamrock. I know,
Yeah.
they do.
Yes, well, and I want to highlight the folks that still call it F are the folks that have lived here for a long time. But the new people don't know what F is. What are you talking about? So it's and with that growth coming down there, now would be the time to get ahead of it. That's my point, is to get ahead of it instead of trying to play catch up. Yeah, I'd start that process. Yeah, and it would be the next meeting where we have other applications. I don't want to just have a meeting that solely does that. And right now, there may not need to be a July meeting. I haven't figured that out for sure. We'll see.
Is there need to look to see if there's any other streets while we're at this?
these are the ones that have been sticking in my craw for years. So these are the only ones I can think of right now.
Okay.
So
Now
why
it's-
do we have named streets going east and west instead of all of them going north and south, and then number of streets going east and west?
Well, if you, here's the other vagary. Our single digit numbers are written words. First FIRST, second SECOND. And so they stay that way. Everything else thereafter, it's based upon the Kansas City grid. So that's why we have 132nd Street, 144th Street. It's 144 blocks from downtown Kansas City. So that's how that's broken up. That's why the numbers change on the north, south, east, west scenario. In our scenario changing, for example, when any new development comes along 169, they go to a 5-digit number. For example, Price Chopper, their address is 15700 North 169. Instead of what had been 504 South. It just eliminates some confusion, especially with growth, because they're driving up 169 and everything's been north 169, and then all of a sudden it starts south. So with the thoughts where we're at, I will prepare the information for the packet to get this on the agenda for the next meeting where we actually have an application. If there are any questions about any of the active developments, I'll answer those too, or pending developments or whatever. 3 potential residential developments are all, they've got engineers, they're all doing their work to get ready to submit. One of which has informed me they plan on submitting this Friday, which will be the deadline for the August meeting. So, and they're all up north.
What's the status on the 169 by 188th?
They're still, it'll be July, end of July, I think, before they're done.
They're moving along.
Yeah, they're,
I mean, I drove
It-
by, there's
yeah.
a lot of work going on.
yeah, if you go by after hours, you can go up and park in the Herzog parking lot or the church parking lot and walk up there and see it, but
Yeah,
they're making pretty good progress.
they did that overlay from Trimble to St. Joe pretty efficiently.
That was Emery Sap, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no other questions, then we can move on, Mr. Chairman.
All right, does anyone have any additional questions for Jack? I'm hearing none. Let's move to the next item on the agenda, the site plan review for 100 James Street. Jack, what you got on that?
Sure, this one is rather straightforward and simple. It's an addition on the backside, the north side of the building, that's been in existence for several years. The staff report lays out the relatively limited issues associated with it, and their engineering submitted the stormwater. It's been reviewed and approved. There's no traffic issues associated with the warehouse, so that's not been a requirement. They are simply wanting to extend the building to get a little more storage for their warehouse, which you may recall, this is the same business that had initially in February looked at maybe building a new facility over in the industrial park. And that has fallen by the wayside, and they're wanting to expand where they're at. So.
Okay.
if you have any questions, we'll go from there.
All right, do we have a motion to approve that site plan?
So moved.
I didn't hear a second.
Deb,
Deb?
Your mic's on.
All right. Do we need a discussion, or do you want us to go straight to vote?
I think you can go
Hearing
to,
none, let's go ahead.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
Down here where this, a condition of approval, this item should include applicant granting title via the right way easement to the city and recording such document.
Yeah.
Has that been done, or will that be done after this is approved tonight? If it is
will be-
approved.
It will be done, right? Prior to the meeting, we were discussing it. It was done originally in 2015 when there was some other stuff done on the site. But for some reason, when you look at the GIS, it's still in his name, titled in his name, but it shows it as a 50-foot wide strip of ground. And I can't find the actual underlying document. I explained to the applicant that most likely what happened was it was created as some form of an easement, which means he still pays taxes on it, and it's just like any other easement for use, and it needs to be a street because it was created to replace a street we vacated for his last expansion. So that's just a matter of cleaning it up and getting it. His engineer has already indicated he can get the documentation together to resolve this quickly.
So approval is subject to the housekeeping.
Yep. And my guess is that we can resolve this thing before next week.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, let's vote.
Okay, Billy,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Deb,
Aye.
Mayor Boley,
Aye.
6-0.
Sounds good. Last item is to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, we got
All
a
in
second.
favor, say aye.
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 Bye, John.
Any opposed? And we're adjourned.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, John.